This video is powered by the pros at Pascal Air Plumbing and Electric. Arkansas owned, Arkansas operated. GoPascal.com.
Who had the better weekend, Battle? Or was it Khalif Battle with a better weekend, or Hagen Smith? Because we were kind of talking about that earlier. Who had the better performance?
Wow, but if Hagen had got the win, if they'd held on to that 4-0 lead, maybe him. But I mean, still 15 strikeouts in 5 innings. I'm not sure. It's not like people keep count of that, I don't think. But how often has that been done in college baseball? Very few. But Battle, I mean, I got to see that one live and in person. And I have not seen – I saw Rodney Clark's 51 points, but Battle's 42. He was making threes. I mean, there was multiple heat checks. Missouri was doing what they could to try to contain him, but he was making 23, 24-footers, and he was driving to the hole and drawing fouls. I mean, and you're like, where's that been all year? Well, he wasn't doing all the things defensively. And I just got a kick out of him because I think we need more kids like him. But he was talking about at some point, Coach Musselman said something like, well, Battle will turn a red light into a green light. Either the President of the United States could tell me not to shoot, and I'm going to keep shooting because that's what I do. I'm a scorer. They come on to something.
Yeah, and Tom, he talked about how that was kind of typical for him in high school. He averaged like 25, so scoring 42, and that side of things. It's one thing to score 42 in high school or at Temple or at Butler, but it is something pretty significant when only 3 Razorback players, Todd Day, him, and Mason Jones, have scored 40 or more against an SEC opponent. You had Martin Terry and Dean Tolston that did it back in the day against Southwest Conference opponents as well. So have you, Tom, I think Arkansas fans, it's a bandwagon Tuesday. I don't think they're necessarily on the bandwagon of this basketball team just yet. They're a little more interested than maybe they were a couple weeks ago. But what would a win for Arkansas tonight and maybe doing in Rupp on Saturday or Coleman next Saturday do for this basketball team and getting the fan base back on board?
Well, they would be huge. And, Arkansas has won at Kentucky a few times. Muss has won there. Mike Anderson teams won there. Nolan Richardson teams, I think, won there. But the Alabama one, no one has beaten them there. And Florida last week, I don't know if you guys saw that game, but Florida really gave them a run. And I thought Bama got a couple calls down the stretch. They didn't put them over the top, but Florida almost got them in Coleman. They're a really good team. And Nate Oates, he does not care or worry about calling his team out. He's like, there were questions about our defense and all, but the questions are all erased now. We don't play defense, and everybody knows it. I thought that was pretty funny.
Oates is a while. I'm not the biggest fan of Nate Oates. I went on a tangent this past Friday, but occasionally he has a quote or two that is entertaining. So the starting lineup for basketball has started to take shape, but listening to Muss after the game, and I know you were, how do you factor in now both Trevin Brazile and Jalen Graham, who was technically available this last game, didn't play? But, Tom, if you're coach, is that the most difficult thing in the next 4 games, is trying to kind of mold them back into the lineup or into the rotation?
It really is. I mean, it's basically a quandary, and you hate it for those kids because they've done good things. Think about where Arkansas would be without some of the scoring Graham has done, even last year. And Minifield has had his moments too. I think Brazile got a little bit tentative. He wasn't playing inside as much, even though he's leading them in rebounding. But what they've got going right now is a pretty good thing. And, you're very reluctant to disrupt what the minutes look like. And so it would only stand to reason that Brazile would get a little bit more playing time this game unless he's had some kind of setback. And so you're going to have to manage it. Now, do you give equal or considerable minutes to each of those 3? I don't know. The way Mekhi Mitchell's playing, the way some of the guys on the perimeter are playing. I mean, Mark did not have a great game against Missouri, but, they got what they needed. So, it is going to be a difficult challenge for Eric Musselman and his staff to find ways to reincorporate those guys and then kind of keep the flow going.
Tom, where do you stand on court storming? That's been a recent discussion with Kyle Filipowski getting injured in Winston-Salem. What are your thoughts on what's gone on, not just this year with Caitlin Clark and him, but the last few years?
Yeah, where I stand is I wish it wouldn't happen. But I think today's college kids, there's a thrill to it. And I know it's been over the generations, there's been a thrill to it, but it used to not be as commonplace, I don't feel like. And, you know, at least you saw John Shire for Duke talking about how there was a roped-off section so they could leave the court at Arkansas, and they didn't have that at Wake Forest the other day. And, yeah, there's just got to be better standards. I mean, the ACC doesn't even have penalties, so, you know, Wake Forest doesn't face any problems unless, you know, they go back and do something. But I just wish it wouldn't happen. There's just too much of a chance of a guy getting, you know, run over, Caitlin Clark getting bumped into by someone not paying attention to what they're doing, and et cetera, and too much of a chance for tempers to flare and somebody getting punched in the face. I mean, that's just the bottom line.
Yeah. Tom Murphy with us, Whole Hog Sports, Arkansas Democrat-Gazette. He joins us via the McCarty-Daniel hotline. Tom, when you look at Arkansas' schedule in these remaining 4 games, you got 2 winnable games tonight, next Wednesday against LSU, both at home, and then 2 tough games on the road in Rupp and on the road in Tuscaloosa. What are the odds you give the Razorbacks, who are currently tied with Georgia, a game back from Texas A&M, Ole Miss, and LSU? What do you give them chance-wise to play Thursday night in the SEC tournament rather than starting on Wednesday?
Yeah, that's a good question. It's a solid chance, right? Georgia's not playing very well right now. I think they've only got 1 win in their last 6 or 7, and so they're kind of on the downtrend. And I don't know what the tiebreaker would look like. They split their season series, Arkansas and Georgia. So it would probably go down from how you performed against the top teams. And I know Georgia's got to win at South Carolina, which is big. And, you know, I'm not sure how far from the top of the standings you go till you get an Arkansas win. But if one of them happens to be Alabama or Kentucky, then they would have a better chance to slide by Georgia. But I would give them a decent chance. I mean, this has been a typical deal. Eric Musselman teams gather steam, find their way, and play better down the stretch. And, you know, if they had been able to win a few of the earlier games, you might talk about them having a chance on the bubble. But even if they win all 4, I'm not sure if they even get onto the bubble. I mean, maybe, but I don't know if their net ranking can go up that high in a span of 4 games.
BetOnline is your #1 source for all your betting needs. Get the latest odds, lines, and matchup reports for baseball, boxing, golf, and more. BetOnline continues to be the fastest and easiest way to place your wagers, including live betting and your favorite casino and card games available to play right from your phone. Head to the website or use your mobile device to sign up today and get in on the action. Remember to use our promo code BELIEVE, that's BLEAV, for your 50% welcome bonus on your first deposit. Bet online, where the game starts.